In a world where love and betrayal intertwine, one woman finds herself at the mercy of a heartless man who's willing to discard her for the sake of his own selfish desires. Picture this: a loyal wife, devoted to her marriage and the family she's built, suddenly finds herself facing a painful reality. Her husband, the man she once trusted with her heart, is planning to buy a house, not for them, but for his mistress. Yes, you heard that right. A house, a future, and everything they had, all given away in favor of another woman. This heartbreaking moment marks the beginning of a whirlwind journey filled with love, revenge, and the bitter taste of betrayal. But just as she's about to lose everything, fate has other plans. Enter the CEO, a man with power, wealth, and an unexpected sense of justice. When he passes by, witnessing the woman's despair, he sees something in her that others overlooked. He steps in, offering not just a hand of help, but a chance at a new beginning. This story isn't just about a woman's heartbreak, but about how life has a strange way of twisting the narrative. What was supposed to be a painful end turns into the beginning of a powerful redemption story. The CEO, despite his tough exterior and cold business demeanor, feels something stir inside him, a desire to right a wrong, to be the protector she never thought she'd find. But their journey together won't be easy. As their paths intertwine, old wounds will reopen, and new enemies will emerge from the shadows. The stakes are high. Will the wife be able to heal from the damage her husband has caused, or will she seek revenge that could change everything? And as the CEO becomes more entwined in her life, will he help her rebuild, or will his own secrets come to light, threatening everything they've started? The twists and turns in this story are just beginning, but one thing is for sure: love is complicated, and revenge, no matter how tempting, can lead to consequences neither of them saw coming. But for now, as the CEO and the betrayed wife walk down a path of redemption and justice, one question remains: can they trust each other? Or will their own past tear them apart? As the days passed, the wounds left by her husband's betrayal festered deeper inside her. The thought of how easily he had discarded her for a younger, more glamorous woman sent a cold shiver through her. How long had he been planning this? How long had he been lying to her face while plotting to build a life with someone else? The betrayal was more than just about a house. It was about her entire existence being reduced to nothing in his eyes. Her name was Lily, a woman who had once been full of dreams, ambition, and love. She had built her life around her husband, Ethan, and their young daughter, Mia. They were the picture-perfect family on the outside, but no one knew the cracks hidden behind closed doors. For years, Lily had ignored the little signs: late nights, at the office, distant glances, and half-hearted affection. She had convinced herself that they were just phases, that they would pass. But this betrayal was undeniable. Ethan had been seeing another woman for months, and now he was about to buy a house for her. The thought twisted something deep inside. Lily, a mixture of anger and sorrow that she couldn't seem to escape. And then there was the CEO. His name was Alex, a man who had built his empire from the ground up. Cold, calculated, and known for his sharp business acumen. Alex had little time for emotions. His life was all about strategy, deals, and profits. But something about Lily's situation hit him differently. Maybe it was the way she held herself, together in the face of such overwhelming pain. Maybe it was the helplessness he saw in her eyes, as if she was losing everything she had ever known. But whatever it was, it struck a chord inside him. It wasn't the first time Alex had seen a woman in distress, but it was the first time he had felt compelled to intervene. He didn't know why. Maybe it was the emptiness that had begun to creep into his own life, a sense of disconnection from the people around him. Maybe he saw something in Lily that reminded him of his own lost chances at real connection. Or perhaps it was simply that he couldn't stand to watch a woman be wrong like this. The moment he witnessed her standing in front of that expensive boutique, utterly defeated, was the moment everything changed. His company had always been about numbers and profits, but something in that moment made him reconsider what truly mattered. He offered her his hand, not just out of pity, but out of a desire to see her rise from the ashes. He didn't want her to become another casualty of life's injustices. Alex wasn't the kind of man to get emotionally involved, but this time, it was different. He wasn't just a bystander. He was stepping in to help. Meanwhile, Lily struggled with the idea of accepting help from someone like Alex. She didn't know him. He was the CEO of a massive corporation, rich, powerful, and seemingly untouchable. How could a man like him understand her pain? How could he possibly relate to the woman who had just been thrown aside by the person she trusted most? But there was something in his eyes when he offered her his support, something that made her hesitate for the first time. Could this man truly be different? Could he be someone who wasn't just driven by money and power, but by something more human? Her emotions were a storm of confusion. Every time she thought about Ethan, her heart broke again. The man who had promised to love her forever was now the very one shattering her world. But she also knew she couldn't just sit around and let him win. She couldn't let him walk away with everything, leaving her and Mia to pick up the pieces of their broken lives. That's when the thought of revenge began to take root in her mind. What if she didn't just let him get away with it? What if she could expose him for the man he truly was? A man who would throw away his wife and daughter for the sake of his own desires. The more she thought about it, the more it consumed her. Ethan needed to face the consequences of his actions. He needed to realize that he couldn't just walk away without paying the price. But revenge wasn't going to be easy. It would require more than just exposing Ethan for what he was. It would take strategy, cunning, and careful planning. And for that, she needed allies. That's where Alex came in. She wasn't sure what exactly he saw in her, but his offer of help was something she could use. She wasn't about to let him in too close, but if he could help her navigate this storm and turn the tables on Ethan, maybe, just maybe, she could get the justice she deserved. As the days went on, Lily and Alex began to work together. Alex, with all his resources and connections, was an invaluable ally. But even he was taken aback by Lily's determination. She wasn't just the innocent wife in need of help. She was a woman on a mission, one who was ready to fight for what was hers. Slowly, they began to uncover secrets about Ethan's dealings, his lies, and the way he had manipulated everyone around him. It wasn't just a betrayal of Lily. It was a betrayal of everything he had promised to be. And that was where Alex's expertise came into play. He knew how to expose the truth, how to make people see the real Ethan. But just when things started to heat up, the tension skyrocketed. Ethan, sensing that Lily might be onto him, grew more desperate. He started to retaliate, using his power to try and destroy Lily's reputation, to make her look unstable in the eyes of those who mattered. The stakes were high now. It wasn't just about winning back what was hers. It was about survival. With every move Ethan made, Lily's resolve grew stronger. She wasn't going to let him win. She wasn't going to let him destroy her and her daughter. But the more she dove into this fight for justice, the more she realized there was something she hadn't anticipated. Something in the way Alex had stepped into her life, offering help without asking for anything in return, made her question everything. Was this the beginning of something more than just revenge? Or was it simply a way to get back at a man who had wronged her? As Lily and Alex closed in on their plan, the tension between them grew undeniable. The line between friendship and something deeper began to blur. But in the back of her mind, Lily knew that revenge would always come with a price. And soon, she would have to face the consequences of her choices. Would she be able to walk away from this fight with everything she wanted? Or would her desire for justice and revenge cost her more than she could ever imagine? The days following the unraveling of Ethan's betrayal were a whirlwind. Lily's determination was stronger than ever, and she and Alex had managed to uncover more dirt on Ethan, each discovery pulling them deeper into a game of cat and mouse that was quickly escalating. Every time they thought they had him cornered, he found a way to slip through their fingers. But that was part of the game, wasn't it? Alex always reminded her that a true battle wasn't won easily. And with her sharp mind and their combined resources, they had all the tools they needed to take down Ethan and make him face the consequences of his lies. But just when things seemed to be falling into place, the unexpected happened. Lily received an anonymous tip, an inside scoop about one of Ethan's biggest business ventures, one that could ruin him if the public got a hold of it. This was it. This was the move that would bring him to his knees. She could feel the final piece of the puzzle click into place. With Alex by her side, they orchestrated the perfect reveal. They gathered the evidence, made their move, and exposed Ethan for the fraud he was. The truth hit hard, and within days, the news spread like wildfire. Ethan's empire began to crumble under the weight of his own deceit. But just when Lily thought her mission was complete, she was blindsided by something she hadn't anticipated. As the media frenzy continued, and Ethan's reputation was shattered, a new reality started to set in. She could feel it. Alex wasn't just her ally anymore. He was more than that. There was an undeniable connection between them, a bond that had been growing stronger by the day. The late nights spent strategizing together, the quiet moments when they shared their fears and hopes, the way he was always there to support her. It was more than just a partnership. It was something real, something she hadn't expected, especially not in the midst of her quest for revenge. And then, one evening, as they sat together in the dimly lit office, the tension between them reached its peak. Alex looked at her, his gaze intense, and for a moment, the world seemed to fade away. He reached out, taking her hand in his. "Lily," he said, softly, "I've never been one to believe in fate, but something about you, about us, makes me think I was wrong. I know this started as a mission to help you get your justice, but somewhere along the way, I started wanting more than that. I want to be the one who stands by your side, not just in this battle, but for everything." Lily was stunned. Her heart raced as she processed his words. She had always been focused on the revenge, on making Ethan pay for what he had done, but now she realized that there was something even more powerful growing between her and Alex, something that wasn't driven by anger or hurt, but by trust, respect, and something she couldn't quite name. She had to make a choice. Would she allow herself to open up to this new chapter with Alex? Or would she hold on to the bitterness and anger that had been her fuel for so long? The choice was clear. She squeezed his hand and smiled. "I never imagined this would be the way my life would go, but maybe it's time I let go of the past and move forward." Her words were simple, but they held the weight of everything she had been through. She knew that letting go of her need for revenge didn't mean letting Ethan off the hook. It didn't mean forgetting the pain he caused. It just meant that she was choosing to live for something greater than that pain. The next few weeks were a blur of changes. Ethan's downfall was swift and brutal. The damage to his reputation was irreversible, and the business he had spent years building crumbled. The courts came down hard on him, and for the first time in years, Lily felt free from the weight of his betrayal. But it wasn't just freedom from him. It was freedom to live her life on her own terms, with the support of someone who truly cared for her. And then, in a surprising twist, Alex made her an offer she couldn't refuse. His company had expanded significantly, and he wanted her to join him, not just as a partner in business, but as a partner in life. He wanted her to be a part of something bigger, to build a future together. For a moment, Lily hesitated. She was still uncertain of what the future held, but one thing she knew for sure was that with Alex by her side, she could face anything. Ethan, on the other hand, was left to pick up the shattered pieces of his life. The woman he had thrown Lily aside for had abandoned him the moment the truth came to light, leaving him alone and humiliated. He tried to regain control, but it was too late. The damage had been done, and he would never be able to reclaim what he had lost. As the months passed, Lily and Alex grew closer. They built a life together, not just in business, but in every sense of the word. Their relationship was grounded in trust and respect, something Lily had never experienced before. And as for Mia, she finally had the stable home and loving family she had always deserved. The story of Lily, the woman who had been wronged and cast aside, was no longer a story of vengeance. It was a story of empowerment, of rising from the ashes of betrayal and building something better. And for Lily, the greatest revenge was living a life full of love, purpose, and happiness, something Ethan would never have. In the end, Lily realized that while revenge had fueled her journey, it was love that had given her the strength to heal and move forward, and that, in itself, was the sweetest victory.